Bing, bada, boom. Literally, we are in the man's office himself. Mr. Shawn Henry left us the office while he hot rodded it back to the house to grab his one-of-a-kind work of art. Though he's an art collector, he's an artist himself. We've quickly rearranged the room, Shawn, so when you walk in, it's going to feel a little bit different than how it was left. Before we truly get set up, check out this guy over here to my right. Can you do it? Can we see him? We got a little skeleton over here. A little skeleton. He's huge. Got a big chain on right now, showcasing a little bit of Heart Hatter art. Here we are in the office, the head honcho's office himself, Shawn Henry. From Canada to United States, making a statement, planting his foot. But now we wait. We're ready to rock. He said 2 minutes, so that 2 minutes is probably 7 minutes. Yeah. You know. In my world, 1 minute means 15. So if I say 2 or 3 minutes, 15 times that. Meet up with you today may mean tomorrow. Unless it's in, on time. Hey, look. That 2 minutes was actually 2 minutes.
Oh, shit. Give me a
I thought it was going to be about 20 minutes. Man. But it's like, dude, we are right here standing on a patch of grass, right? Planting seeds about to fully grow.
It's sentence way to sitting.
If we're going to be interviewing a true hockey man, you got to wear the Heart Hatter hockey jersey. Yes, here we are. Are we live? Are we here? Mm-hmm. Once upon a time, Shawn Henry was here. We're right here on this green grass. We're about to plant some good seeds today. We're going to get some awesome growth. So time is not free. And right now, I'm not entitled to any of Mr. Shawn's time. He's not entitled to my time, but he is giving it.
Yes, sir.
I'm not very, I don't look at people as heroes in my life. I say my dad is a hero just because of his work ethic and how he treats his family as a man. But if I was to look up to anybody in this world for motivation and just showing up, Shawn Henry.
Thanks,
so
man.
We are bringing Shawn Henry all the way from Canada to the U.S. He has made a statement here, coming from nothing. Now he's the #1 solar energy company in America. A regular human being, but his work ethic is a little different than the regular average man, human, alien, whatever you want to call yourself. So
yes, sir.
Today we are here at EHS. Shawn, give a little introduction and then we'll just keep rolling with that, bro.
Well, I appreciate the kind words. I'm Shawn Henry. I was born in Toronto, Ontario. I moved down here when I was 9. My mother met my stepfather. We ended up coming down from Toronto, kind of acclimating to a new life down here, which was a little difficult at first. As I started getting older and going to school, I got in a lot of trouble. I was hanging out with the wrong people. Basically, I was hanging out with those people because they made me feel safe.
And you were a hockey player growing up.
Big time hockey player.
That's why I had to wear my hockey jersey.
Big time hockey player. Still am. I still am, actually.
Okay,
yeah,
still
we'll
skating?
talk about that. Yeah, I still skate.
Okay, keep going.
But anyways, we'll skip all the childhood stuff and ended up getting into, being a teenager, getting in a lot of trouble, finding myself in situations of going to jail, getting into fights, getting into drugs. And then there was a moment in time where I just had enough. And at that moment, I had met a gentleman by the name of Shawn Jenkins, who was they call him an RD, the regional director of Verizon, where I was working at the time. He took me under his wing, taught me how to be a leader, sent me to a Dale Carnegie course, which ultimately changed my life and leadership, and then gave me an outlook on business. And then here we are today. My company we do about $80 million a year in solar. I have my nonprofit, Kids Lives Matter. We're one of the fastest growing nonprofits, probably in the Southeast, or maybe even in the United States. I have a separate roofing company that I just started with 2 of my best friends, and that's taken off. I mean, we're in our second month. We've already sold 22 roofs. I own a gym, and I love sports cards. I think that's the thing. I've made millions of dollars off sports cards, off something that I love, uh, and it's probably my favorite thing that I do.
Have you always been a lover of sports cards?
Always. So when I was a kid, that's all I did, right? My birth father would, every time he'd come see me, right? I'd get to see him every second weekend. That was our thing. Like we'd go buy sports cards, packs.
Specific sports?
Hockey. It started with hockey. Started with hockey, and then it grew into basketball. Now I'd say my collection is mostly football and hockey. I have the highest graded Connor McDavid. I don't know if you know who he is. One of the best players in the world.
He's showing all these cards. I'm not super good with like names and whatnot, but when you see the faces, you hear the specific names.
Yeah.
He'll be randomly posted. He'll slip something in the Instagram or something
Yeah.
like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
But you keep getting. So how do they get graded? How does one get really graded on that stuff?
So people will go and we call it wax, right? So what's wax is it's a sealed box of say hockey cards, baseball, football, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
It's sealed. So people will pay for that box. They open the box, and that's when it's like gambling, right? Then you find what cards you get. I've spent so much money. I've blown a bunch of money doing that. That's not the route I recommend anybody going. The route to go is just do your research on markets.
21.
Yeah, that's the odds are like crazy. But do your research on markets, do your research on sports, find out somebody that you fall in love with, that you see, as a rookie that can, ascend to being great. Like I'm a big Joe Burrow guy.
Okay.
So Joe Burrow is my
Joey
B is my PC personal collection for football. Connor McDavid is my PC for hockey, and then basketball. I don't really collect basketball.
Are there different like sets of cards? Obviously, I'm looking at like your Titleist golf balls. Are
Yeah.
there different types of
Yes.
packages? What
Yeah.
package are you?
So I do the high-end stuff. So I do stuff called National Treasures. That's probably the only stuff I really deal with. They have like game-worn pieces of jerseys with the autographs on them. So like you look at Tom Brady, for instance. Tom Brady doesn't have a card like that. They started doing the patch autographs in 2003, 2004.
They just cut a piece of their jersey off.
Yeah, LeBron James rookie year. So one of LeBron James's is probably worth $2 million, $3 million. There's 99 of them in the world. So just imagine if Tom Brady, the greatest athlete of all time, had an actual patch autograph rookie card. It'd probably be worth $20, $30 million right now, right? So back then they didn't. So Tom Brady, I have Tom Brady's first auto, like his first autographed card, one of them. All right, it's called the Contender Series. Those are worth, $70,000 all the way up to almost $1 million.
Okay.
So it just depends on the grade, right? But I always look at it like, the modern stuff. And when I speak modern, I'm talking about Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. There's like Patrick Mahomes is NFL shield, right? So they cut off the shield on the jersey.
Oh,
it's a one of one.
gosh.
They put it in the card with their autograph. That just sold for $4.5 million. You know what I mean? So
you just luck of the draw.
Luck of the draw. That, or somebody could buy the card.
So let's say this. So say it has the patch, right?
Mhm.
And I were to accidentally, I put it in my pocket.
No, it's someone, and knowing that being in the sports card world, you want to take good care of the card because condition matters when you grade it.
Okay.
So they grade on the corners, the edges, the centering, and the surface of the card.
So if you would just like barely pulled it out the box, should it be a 10?
No, because it's all about printing too. So they could print the card, it could be off-centered. Patrick Mahomes could have been signing the card and dropped it and dented the corner. So these guys physically
don't
get
be
the card.
dropping our cards now.
I know. Hey, Justin Fields
Don't do
and
it.
Kyle Pitts, sign your damn cards. All right, I got about 40 grand wrapped up in your asses that I'd like to get. So please sign them. And there's some people that they take forever to sign their cards, and kind of slows the hobby down a little bit.
Charlie, so obviously I've just started hearing about it over the last couple of years. It's something that has grown, like almost I'd say like the sneaker world, the hype world of just everything. So
the market's grown. So the sport card market grew from 2019 to 2021, probably about fucking 3,000%. Like when COVID hit, sports cards went nuts. I mean, things you'd buy in 2019 for $20,000 were selling for fucking 100,000, 150,000.
2,000, 3,000%.
Yeah.
So is this company.
Yeah.
EHS.
That's damn right.
It's shooting up over 2,000% over the last year or so, right?
Yeah. So 2 years ago, our growth was, we were Inc. magazine in 2019. We were number 79 fastest growing company in the United States of America.
And you've gotten top 40. You were in the magazine.
Yeah,
top
I was top 40.
CEOs
Yeah, top
Tampa.
40. No, actually, let me just hang on. but we were top 40, under 40, or top 40 companies in the state of Florida. Now, Tampa Bay Business Journal, I have beef with them because I was not nominated, and yet I'm one of the top CEOs that, with revenue and how big the company is, and there's people on that list that did far, 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 far,
Shawn,
far
is it
less than I
because of
did.
the way you look, bro?
It could be. It could be. Or it could be because of my brash attitude, how I come off.
I
I don't
say
know.
this guy's real deal spiel, not mean, not rude, literally so loving. He may come off hard to someone who's selfish, right?
100%.
And so I say like language. Everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, language!" And you have a bad word, and yeah, what's it's a word. These
That's
things
it.
are words. These things are language. This is words.
Unless
This
it's
is how
directed
people
at you,
just
you shouldn't take offense to it, right?
right.
And
And
I just
it's
think
just
some
like
people,
passion. He's passionate.
yeah.
He uses his hands. He gets in it. I mean, he's not. He's so passionate about growth and wanting people to become their best that push and that movement is sometimes tough. But
So that
dude,
push and that movement that I have is, it's caused me friendships, relationships. But at the end of the day, I always ground myself and come back and stay true to who I am. Because when you don't stay true to who you are, you truly get lost. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes we all go through it. We go through the ups and downs of life where there's been times, like I was lost probably for the last 6 months. And I'd say about a month and a half ago, I found myself again.
how so?
So, God, I went through a lot, man. I had people backstab me in my business that were really close to me here. They tried to backdoor me. My best friend, basically fucked me over, tried to testify against me. He was, went and took pictures with these guys, like real loser shit. Didn't own up to his stuff. I'm talking about somebody we were like this since we were 16 years old. That dealing with just the stresses of life, I ended up having a heart attack during all this. Then we had no clue why, because I'm in good shape.
Multiple little ones.
Multiple little ones, and it led to one big one. And honestly, in a way, I'm glad it happened because it changed my perspective on life. It changed my perspective on me as an individual. I'm like I'm not living to serve, I'd say, like others anymore, like I was, in the aspect of I will do whatever and I'll break myself and do everything for anybody else. Now I'm living for me, and the byproduct of me living for me is what I can give to others because I can truly be myself and give them myself.
Yeah.
You know?
And so even I would say like, okay, so what's the difference when you say, you found yourself after all the troubles growing up, you say, man, I finally want to do my own thing. I've worked for this. I've worked for this. I'm a business owner myself.
Yeah,
And this is my
100%.
4th year going into my thing. So starting something from scratch, obviously everyone wants to do it. I want to
Yeah,
do this and I want
they
to do
say
that.
it, yeah.
So what's the difference between, I'll just say, the regular person who's just saying, I want to do this and I'm motivated today to do this, compared to somebody who's going every single day, all day? I mean, he's doing everything every day. He works out. He's got his gym. He's got the CEO. He's got the business. He's got a family. He's got the dogs, and he helps out so many people. He had the heart attack. You're a healthy person, and life hits you like a freight train.
Did.
How do you react to all that? What's the difference?
So my best friend and my sales director, Steve, he put it because I was even questioning. I was like, man, why the fuck is this happening to me? And I was winning for so long at such a high level, bad things were bound to happen, right? Like you can't keep winning for fucking year after year after year after year after year before you hit some roadblocks. And I think that was, God's way of maybe humbling me and just being like, hey, you need to slow down. You're going too fast. Pump the brakes. And again, like I always look at the silver lining and stuff, and I think the heart attack really was meant to happen to like really ground me, to make me take a step back and figure out like what's important. What does Shawn Henry want? Not what everybody else wants, but like what do I want?
Right.
Like what makes me feel happy? So it's been great though, man. Like I'm in probably the best shape I've been in since the heart attack. I feel great physically. I'm not exhausted or tired anymore. My mental clarity is starting to become even clearer than it was prior. So I think it was maybe being tested, being set up for a bigger purpose. But I know that going through all this, like I'm finding peace and happiness, like discovering more about
You're almost
myself.
finding more answers that you wanted to find out. I said
100%.
like, I used to just like feel people like, what's your goal and what's
Yeah.
this and what? Well, my goal is to be the best that I can possibly be every single second of the day, and I don't want to put a limit on myself, because when we limit ourselves, like we literally only go to that limit because we've cut ourselves off right there.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting to be able to jump into the unknown, right? Like we have everything, and I couldn't pay $1 billion cash right now to get one more breath of life.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
so
a
like
fact.
God has given you so much, and you got the looks that you have. You're an artist. You're a young kid. You're a young kid
Yeah,
owning
100%.
owning what you have. And so the world is changing from the old to the new, right? And so it even goes back to, you know, hey, you might have not gotten chose like this because this is the way you look, but
Yeah.
it's so interesting because God has like blessed you with every single thing that you've had, and He's also allowed you to overcome it, right?
Facts.
You have put
Yeah.
yourself in the right situation that God can use you to actually overcome it. But it's not you getting yourself out of it all, but it's you setting yourself up to be able to do that.
And to be
So
able to tell the story, right? Like that's what we do, man. We tell stories because I feel like stories can help other people that may be going through the same situation. And the stuff with the Tampa Bay Business Journal, I think they didn't pick me because of how I looked. It's after the first year they didn't. I wrote an email basically blasting them because Inc. magazine, Forbes, like I've been published in all these other magazines, but yet the local company right here in my backyard literally wouldn't even put me on the list. So to me, it was kind of more of a slap in the face. But I use that as motivation because it's like, all right, I don't want to be in your little publication.
right.
And I even told my
Done
wife
chasing.
that.
Don't ever
Done
chase
chasing.
after.
Yeah, see
Put
ya.
yourself out there. If it comes, it comes.
You know what's
If
funny?
it doesn't, that was a prayer answered right.
I got
Like,
the email. Hang on, I got the email today from them for more nominations to get nominated. Actually, hang on, it's right here. I actually looked at it today, and I was gonna register, and I was like, no, fuck them. So I didn't do it. Hang on, it's in here somewhere. But yeah, they sent out the email today because they vote
Say,
in
man, is
November.
this some spam?
Yeah, they vote.
Spam hit my inbox.
They vote in November, so it was it's just one of those things. It's like I don't.
How so? How has it worked? I mean, like I say, like artists. That's what we're doing here. Once upon a time as artists, and the way he lives his life is an art. From
Yeah.
being able to motivate kids, and if you follow his IG, I mean, he's just spitting his mind. It's almost like a weird diary, right?
Yeah.
Literally, he's spitting his mind, no filter. There's paragraph. He takes time to share what he's learning or going through for others to. If they want to take it, they can take it. If
Yeah.
you want to reach out, you can reach out. He literally is here to help, not just give out everything for free, but he's here to help out with the things that he's learned about. And if you follow his journey, he literally is helping people almost sort through his brain because it's
So my
obviously amazing.
message, yeah, man, and that's like real big for me. Is
Why
like,
do you do that? Why do you showcase that to the world? Why do you feel like you need to do that?
Because I feel like if I would have had certain messages and okay, let me take a step back. So Andy Frisilla, somebody I look up to, admire tremendously. I was in like my fourth year of business, and I used to think I was crazy because I'd push people away from me because I was so driven.
Mm.
But I could never at that time, the younger me, I couldn't sit back and analyze and figure out why this was happening. Then I saw Andy Frisilla speak, and he kind of spoke about the same thing of what he goes through. And it's being too driven, and you're not alone, you're not crazy. Like we're just different. And
Right.
and if he didn't share that message with me, I don't know if all this would have been possible. Because it was at a time where, man, I was feeling beat down. I was fucking, losing employees. I was losing, friendships. In my head, I'm like, why aren't these people driven like me? Why do I gotta like pull everybody with me? And his speeches came to me at a time where I really needed it. And that's why I personally feel like I need to share my message, my goals, my thoughts, my feelings, because I have such a large following. I feel like if it can impact one person and change one person's day, or they can say, hey man, I really needed that today. Wow, this really hit home. Just one of those, I get tons, but just one makes it all worth it. And I'm okay sharing my personal life and my messages and like what I go through, because it's like, I've always been a transparent person,
What you see now is what you
you
get
get.
in the closed doors. That
That's
is
it.
awesome, man.
So,
Golly, well, you say silver lining. I actually like. We rearranged the entire office.
yes.
This is my golden lining. I said so that all my stuff from 2019 through 2020 or 2018 through 2019, every single person's hat that I made, I stitched it together with one needle, right?
Yeah.
And it says,
That's so
without
cool.
using your heart, what is life but an unsolved puzzle? So when you look, it says love, but love is the face. Like we are the face of love. And so when you put the heart on it, it finishes the whole story. But everybody has a story, and I think it's not just the silver lining; it's the gold.
Yeah.
It's a golden lining, and like everybody's story is so different, and like you're saying, everybody is super different. And
We're all
it's-
born different.
and it's sometimes hard to be yourself all the time, but to be able to be raw, to be able to be transparent, is something that is worked on, I guess you
Yeah.
would say, especially in the world of social media and the internet today. Have
'Cause
you
it's so
always
fake.
have you always been you?
Always.
Or have you ever struggled to be like, oh, I don't know about this and I don't know about that?
Yeah. Actually, I take that back. I think everybody struggles with that stuff. Like when you first start doing it, you're like, man, just what how are people gonna feel about this? This sounds stupid. This is did I write that correctly? Like there's times I misspell everything and I don't even erase it because I don't give a shit. I don't care. I've come to it where I'm just like, dude, who cares? You know what I mean? You'll figure it out when you read it.
I was spelling something the other day. I was like, how do I even gentle? I was like, how do I spell gentle? Is it EL or is it LE?
You know what I do now? When I do,
If
I
it's
go
a
to
hard
text
one,
thread,
I'll voice. I'll be like,
voice
man,
it,
it's a hard word.
Yeah.
And then I like mumble my words. My mom's always like, speak up.
Yeah.
But I mumble so fast and I talk so fast that people are like, dude, are you speaking another language or what's going on?
Yeah, I'm a mumbler.
Oh
I
my
can, especially
gosh.
at night if I'm tired or like my wife will always say, man, like you're mumbling. And I'm like, to me, I understand it. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And then she's like, yeah, you are. I was like, all right. So I always have to repeat it. But, um, social media, I truly feel like it's so fluffed and fake. And, there's very few people that like post like real shit, like real raw, like this is truly how they feel, not the fucking all the wins that they have, right? Like that's all everybody wants to post
Right.
is like, look at my wins, look at my wins. I'm posting my day. I'm gonna
It's
tell
so
you how I
interesting
feel.
and like, I mean, being just so truthful. Like, you get into the world of business and health and things like that. People who own major companies, they're so secretive about health and
Yeah.
thoughts. And this is my opinion because it hurts images, right?
Yeah.
People get like major opinion towards
Yeah.
people, and so everything's pretty closed off, especially in the other world of higher business, right? So to be able to be real, like life is real, health is. I mean, I read something the other day: money can't buy health, money can't buy sleep, money can buy a bed, it can't buy sleep, money can buy doctor, can't buy health, money can buy all these things.
Yeah.
Money can buy health insurance, it can't buy security. Like so, all these things money can buy. It also it can't secure it all.
No.
So even I'll just say like the art of how you live is jumping into the unknown, doing the best that you can, accepting the challenge at hand. There's art everywhere in this building. Why do you have so much art in the building? Have you always been attracted to art?
Yeah.
I mean, your art is just life. You got your whole this right
just
here.
leg sleeve.
If you were to see the
Yeah.
leg, he's got a whole leg sleeve over here.
Yeah. So
So you just got.
I love it. I've always been into that. I was always into tattoos. I've always been into art. And then obviously Jason Skeleton's a really close friend of mine. And then through him, like he kind of, because he's so different from me, right? So when we have conversations,
The clash of the titans.
it's good combos because
it's growth.
He thinks differently than me. So when we have conversations, right, our conversations are just different. He gives me a different perspective on stuff that most business people or my friends can't, right? Because he's just a different mind. But that was like before all that, like when we first met, like I fell in love with his art and then me and him just bonded. And then, I always wanted to have a modern office. So this in here is this is one room. I mean, we have fucking 8,000 square feet.
There's hundreds of these pieces
of art everywhere.
Everywhere. Do you think, I mean, that's very interesting you said that, to see things from a different perspective. Do you try to surround yourself by nobody, or do you try to surround yourself by people that have different perspectives that you actually like soak that in, or I guess you look at that opinion and you really care for that opinion? Do you try to surround yourself by certain people? I guess that's a tough question to answer.
Yes and no.
Because people just sometimes show up.
Yeah, people just show up in your life. When you're doing big things, like people always want to kind of be around you, and usually it's for the wrong reasons. Like that's another thing I found out is just like there's a lot of people that just want to be near you, and then they want to wait for their opportunity to be like, hey, I want to run this by you, or hey, what do you think, or hey, I need, you know what I mean? It's just one of those where you're just kind of like, can't we just have a genuine friendship?
Right.
I'd say my best relationship though, besides like my best friend Steve and like my CFO and like some close people, my wife and other people is so I have a friend named John Chirondo who I told my wife 3 years ago, I was like, I'm going to be friends with a billionaire one day. I think, I'll show you him. Quality One Wireless. Charlie
Rocket.
He donates all that to
Charlie Rocket.
Yeah. So John's Chirondo's one of the best human beings I've ever met. So I told my wife this like 3 years ago. And we go to this little seminar that was like somebody threw together, and I had sports cards in my bag, and I guess he saw me, he came over, he's like, oh, I'm into sports cards too, and we started talking. I didn't even know who he was. So then
you're opening up. The world today is so closed off. People don't talk. People are too strong to be able to say hello. If you say hello, you might be weird. just say hello.
No, that's
You
it.
never
Say
know.
hello. So
You're
he,
chatting it up.
chatting it up, and then somebody comes over to me and they're like, "You know who the fuck that is?" And I was like, "No, who the fuck
That's
is that
another
guy?"
human being in my eyes.
Yeah, but they were like, "That's John Chironda. He owns this, that, blah blah blah. His company's bringing 100 million or 100 billion or something in revenue a year." I was like, "Holy shit!" So, anyways, that I didn't think back to what I told my wife. So me and John, we started building our relationship. We started talking more. I started helping him. I started serving him and being like, "Hey, if you ever need help with sports cards, whatever you need, like I'll do anything for you." Like that was my thing. Is like I just wanted to be around him and being able to speak to him and get his advice and
Learn.
learn. And honestly, our relationship has transformed into he's an extremely close friend of mine. He was at my wedding. I speak to him probably on a daily basis now. Um, but that was a very, very important relationship that I actually planted the seed 3 years ago just by like I manifest stuff. Like I'm huge on
Even
that.
even going deeper than that, 3 years ago, I mean, like you said, once you start getting up the ladder or
Yeah.
whatnot, all these people start coming around. How important is it to start your branding correctly? Because if you start it wrong, you attract the wrong people.
Yes.
Obviously, I've done a little research, but I mean, your brand and your people, they're here to help everybody, but at the same time, you're not bringing in bad things.
No, we don't
You're not
bring in.
attracting bad things. Just almost like the human in the family that like needs help is what you're going after, and
Yes.
that's what you want to come. It's like a full family experience with the solar energy stuff. So
Yep.
how is it that you have branded yourself? Obviously, you're a master brander,
Mhm.
so how have you branded your stuff? Even with your hat, we got the five pillars. What is
Yeah,
your
we'll talk about that.
what is your
Just being authentic, being real, being genuine, just being a good human being. So even, I have something that my friend Ben Newman taught me, and it's you got to live your professional, your of service, and it's your professional, your of service, and your personal life. Like, how do you live those three pillars? And like my of service is I'm just kind to everybody.
Hmm.
Even at the same 7-Eleven, so even Starbucks, my 7-Eleven that I get to, they all know me by first and last name. I will literally buy them coffee. I even like, you know what I mean? Like
I'm here to buy everybody coffee,
well,
and I'll take one as well.
That, or I'll just, I'm very, hey, Kyle, what's up, man? How was your weekend? Like something so simple by just asking them how their day was.
But
or, hey,
actually
how-
caring, not
asking,
just
"Hey,
like,
how
yo,
are
what
you?"
up? All right,
Yeah.
bye.
Yeah. Like, and actually like hearing them. And then, I've built, like at Starbucks, I've built relationships with these people where even one of them wants to buy a roof off of us just because they know what I do.
Mm.
But it's just treating everybody the same, man. I mean, that's my brand is you're going to get what you get. You are going to get the real me. I'm always going to tell you how I feel. And like you said earlier, some people can take it, some people can't. And the people that can take it are
It is what
it
it
is,
Boom.
And I don't know. I just feel like when I'm living that sort of lifestyle, that's when I'm the happiest because you're not, you don't have that feeling of, oh, I just, I told them I was going to do this, but I don't really want to do it. Or, you're not being fake about, a relationship or smiling in somebody's face and shaking their hand. Like, I don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
For people who feel stuck in where they are in their world, what do you think the best advice would be for somebody who's like, oh my gosh, this is how I am, and this is how I'm living, and this is how it's been for the past couple years. I don't even know how to change. I want different.
You got to start somewhere, man. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to self-analyze and be aware of, you know, obviously they're already, if they want to make that change, they're already aware that they're probably at rock bottom, right? If they're saying that to themselves and they're like, man, I need to change, I need to do this, I need to do that. It's not easy. Like,
Right.
It's really not, because they've felt so comfortable being in that position, right, for so long that like them going and taking that leap of faith is fucking scary.
Yeah.
Right. It was for me, man. Like, and I was lucky enough to have somebody like Andy Frisilla that I could listen to his podcast or, watch what he posted, and it would like snap me out of it and be like, this is
Almost
what I
give
want.
you motivation.
Yeah. This
What
is
what what happens? Are there days that obviously there's so many days in life?
Yep.
Are there days that you're tired and you're angry and you're thirsty and you're hungry and you don't
Yesterday.
know how to make a good decision and you're just like, man, I'm not motivated today. How do you find motivation or the will to give it your all when the motivation isn't there?
It's all up here, man. You just gotta
Show up.
show up, man. That's it. It's I'm,
Jump into the unknown.
yeah. It's
Show up.
I mean that is like I have days like I'm not gonna sit here and say I fucking kick ass every day because I do not. There is days where like yesterday was a bad day for me. My dog's dying. I'm dragging ass. Every Thursday I'm so exhausted because I start the week Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I go balls to the wall. I'm always so exhausted. And yesterday, man, I was just kind of just fucking like real down, didn't feel like doing anything. But then, you know, I can switch and be like, no, get the fuck up, go back to the gym, go for a walk, you know, make the extra phone call, make the extra text message, you know, stay on top of your reports. You know, just make sure that things are moving on a daily basis. Like you don't
stay in momentum. Don't
That's it.
ever get stagnant.
That's the best
When
way to
the
put it.
wave hits, man, ride the wave as long as you can, because oh my gosh, that's one thing that I've really learned. Once you get motivated, once you get
Momentum,
that
you gotta keep
momentum,
yeah,
man, do not get tired. Do not
No.
get tired in that momentum area, because like he was saying, you might be up here for years, but one day,
I mean, that's the best way to explain that is like people that work out, right? Like you can literally work out for 10 years straight, and if you take 3 weeks off, right, so
Done.
you got unmotivated,
You want to
done.
know a quick secret?
What?
His dad owns Hammer Time or Hammer Strength.
Really?
Over,
Wow.
About 50% of that, and then he owns the second biggest gym in Australia where all the big boys go.
That's
the
cool.
strongest man in the world.
Wow.
So he's a traveler. He's traveled everywhere.
That's
But
so cool.
we got about 3 minutes because this
All right.
guy's on a time cut
crunch.
schedule.
Yes.
And in my mind, I got a ticker ticking. So let's get to
The hat.
the hat. This is a one of one. Literally, he reached out to me. Super long story short, I didn't know Shawn Henry. I meet one of his buddies, Charlie Rocket. Charlie Rocket has a crazy story in itself.
Mhm.
He's traveling around the world making people's dreams come true. I meet him in Miami. I literally drive 4 hours this way. I get a phone call from Shawn, from my buddy Jason Skeldon, which is some art.
Right, yeah.
He's like, hey, bro, I need you to come to the office and make me a hat. So I show up. We're chatting. I just met Charlie Rocket. He had just got done with a meeting with Charlie. So it's just like a super
This is
small
perfect,
world. You never know who you're going to meet, who you're going to run into. But when you start finding the people that you're supposed to be around, you're going to get to be around them. So this right here is a one-of-one handmade heart hat from scratch. I got the patents to the heart hats. But I got to sit down with Shawn and get to kind of create his story on this hat. So obviously you got the cross on the heart, seeking to serve. You got the logo right here, EHS, right here, rocking it with the cross right here, ready to serve.
Yes.
Got the gold
Always
cross
serving.
ready to serve. We don't know where we're going to be. That's why I just keep saying we feed ourselves false hope. You know, he said he just had a heart attack. He probably thought he was going to go skate that night. You know, you never know. But we don't know what's going to happen, right? I might not walk out of this room. Who knows? So right now, like I said.
Hey, real quick, I saw an interview yesterday, and the guy said, he said, you know what the biggest thing that we take for granted is? And it hit me. It's like when you leave home in the morning and returning at night. Like everybody takes that for granted, right?
Hey,
like,
bro, I just got engaged.
Congrats.
I got engaged, bro, right?
Good
And I told my girlfriend at first, I was like, dude, everybody wears out the word, I love you, I love you, I love you. And I was like, I'm not going to say that. I'm not even going to say it. I don't want to wear it out. And then now I find myself, it's so important for me. I'm like, if I'm up in the morning, I'm working all day, every day. I'm just like, love you. Have a super great day. Because I might not get to do it, even at night, you know, love you. You know, so like to be able to do that is something that's pretty super special. And so many just people wear it out. You know, love is not, like I say, it's not an emotion.
Love's weird. Love is weird. It's so, it really is unexplainable. Like that's the best way to put it.
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
Golly, it's just through the whole body. So we got the rare macaw feather right here. Just the rarity and just flying, being yourself, being able to soar and be yourself. Got the stingray, and then you got the pillars right here. Got the key. The key is important.
Yep.
Why is the key important?
Because it unlocks who you are, right?
Unlocks who you are. It opens up doors that we never thought were going to be open. But one of the best things about a key is it closes it.
Yes.
And once you close that door, do not ever open it up because nothing's getting out of it ever again. Use your superpower. So this was something that was really cool because when we were talking, you were like, I was like, man, what's one of the best traits about you? And you're like, dude, it's my superpower.
Yeah, so I have a superpower and I call it my superpower.
Everybody has a superpower?
Everybody does.
Oh, man.
Everybody has a superpower. You just don't know what it is and you have to unlock it. And mine, you know, was ADHD and I was severe when I was a kid. I was on Ritalin. I had to fucking take pills my whole life to make myself feel normal. But what it allowed me to do is it allows me to operate at such a high level and multitask and just always be going. And honestly, that's how we've built this company so fast. It's you know, it's something that I'm just very urgent on everything, and I've learned to use that to not be distracted, not fuck off, not, you know, go out doing stupid things, but I've learned to use it in my businesses to actually grow my businesses and take them where I need to take them. You know,
Man, using your superpower, he has this little pup. He is a dog addict. He might
yes,
look
that's my
tough right
girl.
here.
Yeah, I'm
He's
a big
not that
softie.
tough.
I'm a big softie.
Oh man,
I
what's
am.
your dog's name, dude?
My dog's name's Marley. She's actually at the vet right now. She's about to pass here probably in the next couple weeks. So, you know,
Got the little M.
yeah, for little Marley. She is such a good dog. She was I got her back, I think 11 years ago. It was right before I started EHS, and she was my road dog. Traveled with me. She's been through the highs and lows of my businesses. She went from sleeping on tile floors eating McDonald's to now she rides in a Lamborghini.
She might just
She
sleep
has
right
her
here
own
too
bed.
for
She
a
can
belly
sleep
rub.
right here. Yeah, belly
I'm
rub.
seeing a
She
couple
eats
little
filet.
toys right here.
Yeah.
So the dog is everywhere. It's
Yeah.
part of life.
And if you look when you guys leave, there's a picture when you first walk in. We have Skell did. That was the first painting he
Oh,
did.
that's
of
your
Marley.
dog.
That's Marley. Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
passed it a second ago. We got the imperfectly perfect. We were talking about like we are perfectly perfect the way we are.
Are.
I am perfectly
Right.
perfect, and
Yeah.
so many people just hate themselves for who they are. But
Yeah.
like we were chatting when we created this, to be imperfectly perfect is what allows us to actually have a testimony. Like
Yes.
to accept that is something so cool because then we realize, well, we're never gonna be perfect. We're
Perfect.
never gonna be just the best, but we can always strive to do that.
That's why I share my story, man. And that's why I'm so authentic with it, is because there is people out there that no matter what anybody's going through, like there's somebody that needs to hear that somebody else is going through the same shit, and that they just need to know, is it going to be okay, right? How do I handle this situation? What, you know, what advice can you give? So I know when I'm going through something, I put it, but I put it in a way where it's not so direct, but it's more of a overall scope of things. I try to not like, you know, bam. I just try to be like,
The
okay,
hero.
overall. And if people ask questions, I always answer. So that's one thing on my social. If you write me and you ask me a question, I will always answer. You know, after my heart attack, I had about 2,000 DMs that I have not responded to. It was just too much to go through. But if you write me and you ask a question, I'll definitely respond.
Just give me some time.
Yeah, I'm back though. I'm
And
back.
then we got the pillars. The
Yes.
pillars. What are your pillars of just your foundation of how you have people here work, of how you function?
God.
What are your pillars of, I guess it's your pillars of growth.
Right? I would say, you know, hard work is one around here. Operate with urgency, be genuine and kind. Um, God, I mean, we have so many. Our, you know, work as a team. Teamwork's a big one around here. Loyalty, responsibility. I mean, I could go on with what we preach about not only our core values, but also the pillars, and then like our mission too, right? Like,
What is your mission?
our mission is just to be ethical and be honest, right? And to help people get away from, you know, the electric companies. I mean, that's our business model is pretty simple, but the crusade is to be a 5-star rated company. You know, we want to achieve $100 million in a year. All right, like that's like one of our big goals, but we want to do it the right way. So there's so many solar companies out here that literally are liars, cheats, frauds.
Looking to just grab the dollar.
99 out of 100. There's 99 out of 100 of the companies that don't do it the right way. You know, we're not perfect, but we strive to be perfect.
Right.
You know, we're just not in it for the dollar. Like we'll kill deals, meaning if one of my reps sells an 85-year-old woman on a 20-year finance plan, well, I'm killing that deal because that makes no fucking sense to do that to somebody and to somebody's family. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't align with who we are. So
People
you know,
in the broad daylight getting over on everybody.
Yeah, but that's huge in the industry where people literally will fucking sell somebody on their deathbed. If they have a pulse and a social, they'll sell them solar. We don't do that here. We do it the right way.
And the last question to end it off: being a leader,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to be a leader.
It's one of the hardest things in the world.
I say I've always prayed to be a leader, and I've always prayed to have a voice. I thought it was going to be through sports and through this and that, but I've had 20 surgeries, so 12 knee surgeries, 8 back surgeries, and God is now giving me a different type of a voice. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you always wanted to be a leader? And even if you haven't been wanted to be a leader, you have now been called to be a leader.
Yes.
So you're the man in the shoes that you are. So how has it been to be a leader in front of everybody, and I mean almost just be the shepherd of the pack? Like how I guess how, I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but to be a leader,
no,
how
I got
is
it.
it?
So I wasn't always a leader. I was actually the fucking class clown. I was the kid on the hockey team that was making the guys do sprints because I was fucking off. I wasn't always a leader, but what got me to this point was when I went through all my stuff, all the arrests I got, I was in trouble, losing my best friend, all the heartaches I went through with my parents getting divorced when I was at a young age. It allowed me to, once I finally started growing and getting into like self-development and leadership, it gave me internally the 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 callousness of being a leader and not caring what people think. Right? Because when you step into this position, and I have 2 felonies, I've been arrested 11 times. Like, I was a piece of shit when I was a kid. Like, once I owned my past, like, you can't tell me nothing. You know what I mean? Like, that was my thing. Like, you can't hurt
So
me.
almost like,
Yeah. Like, what are you going to tell me?
so
Like, look at what
stop
I
giving
did.
entitlement to other
Other
people's
people,
opinions
opinions.
towards your life when
Yeah.
you have figured out who you are.
Yeah, because once you figure out who you are, then you can start leading other people. Because if you don't know who you are, why are you telling other people how to live? See what I'm saying? So
Shake my head.
it's just, it was one of those that was probably the biggest thing for me, was finally like letting go of, like, because I used to have to go into banks, right, when we started this company, and we'd fill out an application, you get a line of credit, and they'd be like, whoa, your record, and I'd have to literally go in and sit down with the bankers and explain all this stuff. And I've had to do it probably 10 to 12 times in my business career, where
Hey, it's only helped you.
100%.
He's been training for this interview right here his whole life.
You know what I mean, though? So it allowed me to get my story basically out there, and then the more I kept having to tell it, the more comfortable I got with it. Because as I'm growing the business, people are like, wow, like, look at what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then you start being like, you know what, fuck, like, look at
It's
all
pretty
the shit I
It's
went
powerful to be able to tell the stories that you have struggled with. Like
Yeah.
that, I said, you said one of your best friends passed away.
through. Yeah.
All
Stephen
my best
Cornell,
friends
it's
have passed
actually,
away.
it was his birthday on September 12th. And then he passed away on September 26th. He was murdered. Guys running from the cops. They'd just gotten out of jail literally the day before, stole a car, was running from the cops, and it was a head-on collision. He's the only one that died. So, you know, I live for, like, I don't want to say I live for him, but
Well, it's you don't want
my
that
angel.
death to be in vain.
Yep.
And so it's what's your legacy going to be to help his legacy continue to grow.
Yeah. So,
Man, I feel that one. It's a tough one for that, but like we were saying, breath is so important, and each breath that we get is a whole new life, and we don't have to bring the negativity into the next breath. So be who you're supposed to be, and to end it off for the last question, dude. If somebody had to hear something right now, and this might be your last thing ever, what would you tell the world? Hey, this is what I've learned. Of where you are right now, you're still growing.
yes.
Life,
So
you're still growing, but if there's something that maybe you just need to
it's
tell
never as
somebody
bad
right
as you
now.
think it is.
It's never as bad as you think it is.
Like, in your head, you're going to think the situations are the worst, or, you know, how can it get any worse? Trust me, it can get a lot worse. So my big thing is I never get down on situations. Like, I may get my ass kicked a little bit, but I'm in my head, I'm like, okay, look at what I learned from this situation. Okay, let's move forward.
And he's a puzzle solver.
Yeah,
He's
you have
gonna
to be.
finish his big puzzle by the end of life. It's gonna be
Yes,
beautiful.
I hope so, man. I hope, you know, when I'm on my deathbed, that there's multiple people around me, I'm celebrated, and I've left enough impact to be able to, like, be proud when I go to the other side. You know what I mean?
Bada bing, bada
I
boom.
think people just show up and they just live, but you know, I think the true value is at the end of life is like, you know, do you want to be on your deathbed and be like, fuck, I should have done more? Or do you want to be like, man, I left it all out on the field. Like, just take me, I'm good. Like,
Man,
I'm
ready.
I'm ready. You know?
I don't know anything else to do.
Yeah. That's it, man. So I'd say that my biggest advice, though, to somebody is like, it's never as bad as you think it is. Try to stay positive, and then always figure things out, and always try to figure yourself out. I mean, as humans, we're always evolving, right? I don't think we ever take time. We're quick to judge other people, or, you know, have something to say about somebody else, but like, we never really want to sit down and analyze ourselves because we're scared of what we find. Where, to me, I've made
Face the mirror.
face the mirror, man. And to me, I've made a lot of changes. I'm not perfect. I still have, you know, tons of things I'm working on. But my leaps and bounds over the last 3 years have been, you know, to me, it's one of those where I don't really ever pat myself on the back, but I pat myself on the back.
You know, that's even cool. You never know. Like, you're one of the people that you get awards, you get this, you get that. And it's not necessarily to go show off an award, right?
No.
But it's almost like, bro, you needed the award just to say, like, God's like, hey, bro, you're doing the right thing. I'm going to give you this just because you are that type of guy that needs it. You are hard, and I'm going to give you this. You're not going to go show the work, but just keep going.
Yeah,
Keep doing your thing.
it.
So blessing is a blessing. Don't put your blessing in. I say this, a blessing is like a new pair of shoes, right? So many people are like, I got $1,000 pair of shoes. and then they put it in their closet and they never wear them, right?
Yep.
They don't use it, and then they don't take care of it because they're not using it. So wear the shoes, wear the blessing every day. Take care of it, clean it, fix it, but don't let it get dust and don't waste it. Because if you're going to waste your blessing, you shouldn't have had it in the first place.
And life's a
So-
blessing, man. That's the thing too. Like life, like what you know, everybody on the other end of this camera, like life is a blessing. Like what we talked about earlier. You could leave your house, like what we take for granted every day. Nobody thinks about that. We get in, we put our seatbelt on, we go to work. Well, you're not guaranteed to return. So live life to your fullest. You know, don't wait. And that's you see me post that all the time. Like, get it now. Go after it now. Stop waiting. Stop waiting in your dream, your vision. Like, what's the worst that can happen? You dive in, and then you're right back to where you were if it doesn't work out. Like,
Look,
do it.
right before we pulled up, this is perfect timing. This lady's yard, she had all these green plants everywhere. It said, "Stop waiting for somebody to give you a garden and go plant your own."
I like that.
And I was like, "What?" And then I saw these grass. That's why I was like, "We're gonna plant our
This
seeds
is
today,"
it,
because
yes.
literally, like, we are planting seeds right now. Both of us talking out loud. That's how I also grow. So some of the stuff I've said today in my own voice, I've just grown from it.
Yeah.
But everybody right now, we have planted a lot of really good seeds today.
Yes.
So all it can do from here is grow. Don't plant a bad seed, because you plant a bad seed, it's also going to grow.
Yeah.
And it will come into fruition. So
Well, I appreciate you.
bada
Man. Thank
bing,
you for
bada
coming by.
boom, bro.
I'm looking
Let's
forward
go,
to tomorrow.
Shawn Henry.
See you guys.
Once upon a time, and the story continues. Whoa.